to Olfactofiles. I'm Tara, and today I'm very excited because this is the first of a three-part series to wrap up 2020 with my 10 favorite fragrances that are affordable, mid-range, and luxury or splurge-worthy, if you will. Now, today we're going to talk about the affordable fragrances, and that word affordable I don't love because it's different for everyone, right? So basically, I'm just going to do it by a number. So everything today is available at $100 or less, and it's at least 50 milliliters you can buy for $100 or less. The next video will be $100 to $200 for sort of the mid-range, and then the like ultra luxury splurge-worthy fragrances will all be ones that cost more than $200. Before I get into the list, I just wanted to remind you all that voting is still open for the first annual Viewer's Choice Olfactie Awards, and I definitely want your input. So if you have not yet voted, please go down to the description box and click the link where it says like vote here for the Olfactie Awards, and go cast your ballot, because there are a couple categories that are extremely close. Like there's actually one category when I checked before filming that even though there are a lot of votes already, two fragrances are tied, exactly tied for first place. So I definitely need more input to be able to decide the winners. Please cast your ballots and, you know, only vote once, but if you haven't voted, make sure you do. So I really appreciate that. And without further ado, let's get into my top 10 affordable fragrances. And again, quote unquote, affordable. So for each of these top 10 lists, I'm going to be including 2 honorable mentions, and the first one up today is from Guerlain, and this is called Mon Guerlain Florale. This was created by Thierry Vasseur, and it's obviously very similar to Mon Guerlain, or you would think because it's a flanker, and it is, but it has the addition of some floral notes. The floral notes make it just a slight bit like powdery almost maybe, but I really do adore this one. It's my favorite of all the Mon Guerlains, closely followed by the Intense, which I also really like. But this one's discontinued, which is why it's an honorable mention. You can still find it, but it seems like it's getting harder and harder to find. So definitely check it out if that one sounds interesting to you. My other honorable mention has also unfortunately been discontinued. It's from Viktor&Rolf, and it's called Magic Dancing Roses. This one was created by Sonia Constant, and it has notes of like a cherry liqueur in the opening, rose of course, which is the main note, also lychee and some other things as well. I really enjoy it. It's my favorite from that line, but I believe the whole line's been discontinued, which probably is why it's been on sale for 50% off pretty much the entire year. But yeah, so originally this was over $100. It's been on sale for about $77 most of the time recently. However, I haven't seen it in a while. So if you do see it for that like 50% off price and you're interested, this is probably going to be your last chance to get it. But like I said, I don't even know that you can anymore. So that one is Dancing Roses, and it's my other honorable mention. All right, now we are in the official list, and at number 10 is a new addition to my collection, but one that I'm really enjoying and have worn a few times since I got the sample, and now I have a full bottle. It is from Zara, and it's called Ebony Wood. And this one is very affordable. It was created by Jo Malone, of course, because this entire collection was a collaboration with Jo Malone. And this one has notes of the ebony wood with some pink pepper and clove. I have found that this lasts fairly well on my skin, although it sits very close to the skin. So this is not like, you know, gonna project a ton. It's not like gonna leave a huge like scent trail or anything like that. But for my own enjoyment, this is fantastic because it does last a long time. It's very soothing and grounding. And so I'm happy to have picked up a full bottle. That one I think is about 40 bucks for a 90 ml. Right now I notice they have sets where you can get a 90 ml plus 15 milliliters travel spray. And so for 40 bucks, that's a great deal. That's my favorite from this line, and I definitely recommend it if you get the opportunity to check it out. At number 9 is another very affordable fragrance from my collection, and it is Jessica Simpson Fancy. And this one was created by Alexis Dadier, or perhaps Alexis Dadier. Not exactly sure how to say the name, so very sorry. But this one is this like caramel, vanilla, pear kind of fragrance with some almond as well. This is one that I really like to wear to bed, which is why it's on this list. I wear it a ton, but I wear it at bedtime. I just put a little bit on. It smells amazing, and I don't know, it's just kind of a nice, cozy scent. So that one is Jessica Simpson Fancy. We're gonna go old school for number 8, all the way back to when I was in high school. And this is a fragrance that I wore probably around 2000, but I picked up another bottle this year and I have kind of fallen back in love with it. I'm sure part of it is nostalgia, but the scent I've picked for number 8 is Dior's Hypnotic Poison. This one was created by Anique Minardo, and it has notes of vanilla, some almond, a little bit of coconut, and like a woody sort of dry down to it. I really do enjoy this fragrance, and I had kind of forgotten about it. I mean, I knew it existed, but I didn't even think to like come back to it again until this year I decided to pick it up. I've been wearing it and falling back in love. It's a little bit of a sexy fragrance, so I'm not sure that it was the most appropriate for a 16-year-old me, but nevertheless, I wore it, and I'm happy to wear it again. So again, number 8, Dior's Hypnotic Poison. I can't remember the exact price point, but I know for this 1 ounce bottle, it was probably around $60-ish, so not too bad. At number 7 is another fragrance that falls towards the lower end of the price range today, and it is from Elizabeth & James, and it's called Nirvana Amethyst. This size, which is a 30 ml, I've seen go for under $20 this year, and if you're looking for like 50 to 100 milliliters, I think at most you're gonna spend 40 bucks. So definitely a pretty affordable option. This is another one I enjoy wearing to bed. It has some tobacco, honeysuckle, and wood, so it's got that, you know, kind of nice soft woody dry down, but it's sweetened up with that honeysuckle, so it's like this sweet sort of tobacco-y kind of scent. I think it's a great buy for that price point, and this is my second bottle that I'm on, so definitely love this fragrance, and again, that's called Nirvana Amethyst. In at number 6 is one from Lush, and it is Rentless. Now, this one is on the higher end of the price range. 100 milliliters will cost you exactly $100. I think it's like $99, $95, something like that. But you can get this 30 ml size for, I think, around $50. This one has notes of patchouli, labdanum, and tonka. And originally, and I've mentioned this before on my channel, when I first sprayed this, like to test it out, I smelled it and I was like, And actually, even out of the like atomizer, if I smell it like that, I don't love it. But once it sits on the skin for an hour or so and it starts to warm up and just kind of meld with your skin chemistry, this turns into this like rich, like enveloping, warm, addictive, cozy fragrance. So perfect for this time of year in the winter. And I'm so glad that I came back around to this. So that's definitely been one of my favorites in 2020. It is Lush Rentless. Oh, and the perfumer for this one is Simon Constantine. At number 5, I have one from Van Cleef & Arpels, and it is Bois Dore. This one was created by Fabrice Pellegrin, and it has notes that we've already heard quite a bit of today, so clearly I have a type, and that type includes tonka, vanilla, tobacco, and almonds, all of which you will find in Bois Dore. This one was definitely love at first sniff, but I will tell you the longevity on this one, and in fact all of them from the collection extraordinaire, is not very good, so do not expect this to last a long time. You can pick these up for less than $100 though, so if you know that helps make it better. I honestly don't care that much about the performance of a fragrance as long as I love the way it smells, and this one I definitely love. So again, at number 5 is Van Cleef & Arpels Bois Dore. At number 4, I have a newer addition to my collection, but it's a fragrance that I've wanted to try for quite some time and finally did this year. It is from Kierin NYC, and it's called Sunday Brunch. This one was created by Matthew Nardine, is maybe how you say his name, and it does remind you of some of the smells that you would get at Sunday Brunch, specifically mimosas. Now, although this doesn't have orange in it, it does have lemon and bergamot, which gives it a little bit of that citrus thing. There's also a tea note in here and some jasmine, but as a whole, there's sort of like this fizziness to it that makes me think of a mimosa in some ways. So like I said, it's not exactly like a mimosa because there is that tea and that slight jasmine, although the jasmine's pretty quiet and not indolic whatsoever. But yeah, I just really like it. It's a bright, cheery, uplifting kind of fragrance. There are others from this house, well, they only have 5, but there's at least one other, maybe 2 others that I'm probably going to be purchasing before too long. I think the 50 mils are right at $84, which for a small niche house is a very good price. So yes, I'm definitely excited about this house, and I plan to do a whole video because I have their discovery set, but in at number 4 on my list is Sunday Brunch. At number 3 is a fragrance from an indie house that I've explored a lot this year and have come to love many of their fragrances, but my favorite is still Memoirs of a Trespasser, and this is from Imaginary Authors. Now, the owner, Josh Meyer, also is the perfumer for all of these fragrances, and like I said, I enjoy a lot of them, and some of them do kind of have a similar DNA. For example, this and the new A Whiff of Waffle Cone fragrance have kind of a similar DNA to me, but this one is my favorite. favorite. The main notes I pick up from Memoirs are vanilla, myrrh, and like a woodiness. I think it's Gaiac wood that's in here. So if you do like woody vanilla types of fragrances, I think you would really enjoy this. However, I would highly recommend getting the Discovery set from Imaginary Authors. I purchased that originally, and you get to try 8 fragrances. You can pick your own if you order from their website, which 8 you want to try. Throw this one in here as well as 7 others that you'd be curious about, and make sure you like it. But this particular fragrance, and pretty much all the fragrances from Imaginary Authors, are $95 for 50 mils, except for a whiff of Waffle Cone, which is only $65, so definitely very affordable. But again, for number 3, I picked Memoirs of a Trespasser from Imaginary Authors. Number 2 was honestly a surprise to me. I did not expect to like this fragrance, but I love it. It is from Chloe, and it's their Nomade Absolu that came out fairly recently. This one was created by Quentin Biche, who you've probably heard of before because he's created many very famous fragrances. But this one has a unique note of Mirabelle plum that you don't see, or I don't see anyway, in many different perfumes. It also has some oak moss and Nirvana, among other things, but for some reason, this takes me back to high school when Abercrombie & Fitch was very popular, and like, you know, most of us couldn't really afford to have a lot of it, but you would go in, and I don't know why. It probably doesn't even smell like the store did, but it reminds me of that for some reason. This does last quite a while on my skin, but I think the best thing about it is that it is very unique for a designer fragrance. A lot of the releases this year smell kind of similar to me, but this one stands out from those. So again, that one is Chloe Nomade Absolu. All right, that brings us to number 1 on my top 10 affordable fragrances list, and this perfume was created by 2 perfumers, both of whom have already appeared on the list today. They are Sonia Constant and Quentin Biche, and if you haven't guessed it yet, this perfume is Jean-Paul Gaultier La Belle, and you can see I really like this fragrance. I have decanted a little bit for people, but I also wear a lot. This is one that I have actually received compliments on this year. I don't give a crap about compliments, but if you do, I get compliments on this one. The only notes that are credited are pear, vanilla, and vetiver. I'm sure there's more than that in here, but this definitely is a juicy pear of a fragrance. It's very sweet, it's addictive, and I adore it. The 100 ml I think goes for around $80 to maybe $100 now that it's been hyped to death, but it's definitely worth the hype. So again, that's La Belle. It's my number 1 pick. Well done, Quentin Biche and Sonia Constant. This is a beauty. So these are my top 10 picks for affordable fragrances in 2020. Now, obviously these all come from my own personal collection, and I'm sure that there are some other fantastic options available. So please let me know down below, what are some of your picks for affordable fragrances this year? I'd love to hear some recommendations, and I know that a lot of times you guys give each other great recommendations in the comments because you read what each other writes, which is fantastic. So let me know if you have any other recommendations for some nice, like, affordable types of fragrances, and I will be happy to check them out in 2021. Hopefully by then we can actually go and sample in store, because most places still don't let you do the testers, which is kind of a bummer. But anyway, I hope you guys like this video. Definitely stay tuned, because the next one up will be my mid-range one, so like $100 to $200. And then, you know, for funsies at the end, we're gonna do my splurge-worthy fragrances, so $200+ per bottle. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday, and I'll see you next time. Bye!